here, and my partner, Brady, we were talking, he would have brought Gronkowski because Gronk does whatever Tom asked him to do. Gronk go wrestle, take a year off, come play in Tampa with me later, come caddy for me. It's hard to get to him, right? But, do you bring Eli? Could do that. You bring Nick Foles, maybe.
Cheap shot.
What is going on, everyone? How are you guys doing? So as you just saw there in that clip, two of the greatest to ever do it. Yes, that is right. I respect and acknowledge greatness. Two of the greatest to ever do it on the football field, former AFC rivals, former AFC foes, are buddying up and they are hitting in a couple rounds on the green. Yes, that is right. Now, knowing me, come on, guys, I cannot watch another round of golf. I mean, I'm close to losing my marbles at this point, and the last thing I will do, it doesn't matter if it's Peyton Manning, it doesn't matter if it's Tom Brady, it doesn't matter if it is Bryce Harper, Mike Trout, anybody. I am not watching a round of golf at this current time on TV. I cannot do it anymore, all right? But anyway, watching that clip yesterday, I look into it, and let me just say, man, watching Peyton Manning after his retirement, I mean, like I said, heck of a player, one of the greatest to ever do it by far. But he is a funny dude. I enjoy Peyton Manning. I love him as a personality, whether it's, on the ESPYs, whether it's on the commercials, wherever. Peyton Manning is a funny dude. And if you were able to hear in that video clip, they were talking about Tom Brady. And first he talked about Gronk and basically said how Gronk does anything that Tom Brady asks him, which it was pretty funny to me. But then Peyton Manning took it a step farther and said, it's hard to get to Tom, so maybe I should get Eli, who I hate, that stinking Manning, or Nick Foles. And I just sat back dying of laughter. I love Peyton Manning. That was a good one. But it didn't stop there. That was a good laugh, but it kept on going, right? And I'm watching. I'm looking for a couple more videos that come in. And you ever wonder what makes the GOAT? Yes, that is right. I'm acknowledging it. The GOAT, Tom Brady, Mr. 6 rings. You ever wonder what makes greatness like that cringe? What gets under their skin? Well, I know exactly what it is. You guys can see it for yourself right here.
It's the Eagles that are cringe, bro, not the Falcons.
That is right. Nick Foles, the Philadelphia Eagles, still make Tom Brady salty and they make him cringe to this day. And I love this, right? So I wanted to come on and talk to you guys today. I had already planned this out to talk about why the Philadelphia Eagles 2017 Super Bowl run is the greatest championship run in all of sports history. Yes, listen to what I'm saying. All time. You can give me, Eli Manning taking down the 18-0 Patriots. You can give me Trent Dilfer going from backup to Super Bowl champion and delivering one for Baltimore. You can give me all of these title runs throughout history, but listen to what I'm saying. There is no title run like the Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl run in history. It's come up a little bit in the past couple days. You guys can debate me down below if you want, but I'm here to speak on why. You know why? Because the amount of adversity, all the obstacles that year that this Eagles team had to go through, and we bursted through every single one. If we look at that year, right? We're just 2 years removed from the terrible, just atrocious Mr. Chip Kelly. And what he did to this city and this franchise, he better not ever take a step back into Philadelphia. Mr. Chip Kelly got rid of a quality playoff football team because he didn't like the players. He wanted his own system, right? Fine. But guess what? He screwed it up and he gets fired right away. And now we are stuck. The next year we go and get Carson Wentz. And I'm liking the promise I see from this guy. But he's throwing the ball to Dorial Green Beckham. And Jordan Matthews is number one. It's not going to work. People. But anyway, we go into the next year. We upgraded the receiver position. We don't get them, the craziest weapons, but we get an Alshon Jeffrey who's coming off a hot season in Chicago. We go out and we get a veteran like Torrey Smith to shore things up, right? We get a veteran back in LeGarrette Blount, a big busty guy who can get us some yards when we need to. Howie Roseman in the middle of the year finesses Miami to get Jay Ajayi for a 4th-round pick. And there's just all these guys that we go out and get to upgrade this Eagles team. But obviously we weren't, seen as one of the top teams in the league, right? We didn't think we would be one of the top forces in the National Football League. But boy, were we wrong. Because the way the Eagles came out in 2017, you really felt like there was something magical about that season. I mean, we are blowing out teams. Chicago, Denver. Like, we are just wiping the floor with these teams, right? But if you know Philadelphia sports before 2017, it's always just like, dang. Something always happens, and it sucks. It always rips our hearts out. And what happens, right? We go to 11-2. 11-2. Carson Wentz breaks out in his second year. MVP candidate Carson Wentz getting ready to set the all-time franchise record for touchdowns. He does it against the Rams. And what happens? He goes and gets smacked in his knee. Smacked in his knee. Our promises, our dreams, our hopes get stabbed out of our heart and thrown onto the floor. All the injuries that year. Not just Carson Wentz, but Jason Peters, Darren Sproles, Sidney Jones, Jordan Hicks. Do I have to keep going down the list? Those are the guys that got hurt for the whole year. Chris Maragos. Do I have to keep going? Those are the guys that got pinned for the whole year. But there were a lot of other guys that were also hurt throughout the season. It just seemed like this team was banged up. But what happened? Every guy stepped up. I mean, second, third, fourth stringers stepping up to play quality football. That is what a team, that is what a depth chart is about. So the Eagles, even though it felt like the season was over, it was like, dang, we had something so special and it is gone. What happens? The man who comes out of nowhere, Mr. Nick Foles. Yes, you remember him, 27-2 under Chip Kelly. You remember that kind of magic? And then he gets hurt. And then he gets traded for Sam Bradford. I mean, I'm so sorry, Nicholas. I'm so sorry. We sent you to Jeff Fisher. If that is not, a cue to go ahead and kill your career. I mean, Jeff Fisher. We sent him to Jeff Fisher. And then after that, he's over there chilling in KC with Andy, holding clipboards, just doing his thing, talking to his wife, a Christian man, a very religious guy. And I respect Nick Foles. And he's talking to his wife and he's like, dang. At this point, maybe football is just not for me. I mean, I'm a good-looking dude. I'm chilling. I'm a good husband. I'm getting ready to have, some kids. Maybe I should just hang it up. Maybe I should take my jersey off and go hang it up. Maybe it's not for me. And at that point, the next season, he comes back to Philadelphia where, he understands the culture. And what happens? Nick, we need you to step up in the toughest situation. Like, we are handing this team over to you. An 11-2 team who has all the momentum, everything riding on the table. No pressure, right? No pressure, Nick. What does he do? He comes in. He starts off cold, and it just did not look like he had hit his own body under him, right? But after those couple games, he got warmed up. They set up a new playbook for him. The masterminds of Doug, Frank Reich, John DeFilippo, they set it all up. And what does Nick do? He takes it and runs with it. He never looks back. Mr. Nick Foles took it and took that opportunity and knew what was on the line. And he just got better and better. And at one point, there was no stopping Nick Foles. We go in that first round of the playoffs. And still, he did not play really well that night. It went down to the last possession. Atlanta had 4 downs to try to win it inside, I think, the 10-yard line. And what happens? The Eagles defense steps up. Them big bad boys, they step up. They play hard and they finish it off at the link. Without Carson Wentz, that 11-2 record, we do not get that home field advantage, and things may have gone different. Remember what they were saying? Minnesota is going to have the first home Super Bowl. Minnesota is destined to do it. Everything is on their side. But guess what? The Eagles are the ones that had the destiny. They come into the link and they get stomped on their neck after a first drive touchdown. Case Keenum looks like he's in stride. Guess what? After a pick by Patrick Robinson, the Eagles put up 38 unanswered on a team that was averaging 13 points a game let up on defense. The Eagles stomped them, and at that point, we felt like something special was happening. But guess what? It doesn't even stop there. We kill the Vikings, and we go to the Super Bowl, and it's the final test. Can we take down the best head coach quarterback duo of all time? The guys that barely score in the first quarter of the Super Bowl, but when you give it to Tom late in the fourth, he does not fail. Well, guess what? Nick Foles did it. This team lived up to the hype, all the injuries, all the adversity, and we take down the Patriots in the best game of all time. Most yards in an NFL game in history, over, I think, 1,100, was it? 1,100 yards. No defense that game at all. And Nick Foles dueled Tom Brady back and forth. Back and forth. Making the throws, making the plays that he had to. The Philly special, all of it. Going from earlier in the season from Carson Wentz ducking and dipping all these defenders, coming out of piles I'd never seen, to Nick Foles out-dueling Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. I mean, Brady played well, over 500 yards, but Nick Foles stayed toe-to-toe. The Eagles, it comes down to one defensive play of the game. The first defensive play of the game, and we scored and we gave it back to the Patriots, and that's when all us Eagles fans do. We're holding on to the edge of our seats. We know it is time. It is time. That a play must be made because Tom Brady was 5-0. With 4-0, 5-0, whatever, when you give him the ball back in the last couple minutes of the fourth quarter, he always goes on those game-winning drives. But what did the Eagles do? They defied history, something we never thought would be done. We defy history. We go, Mr. 55, Philadelphia, brotherly love, beloved Eagle, Brandon Graham, a guy who really integrates Philadelphia in himself. He makes the first defensive play of the game, gets around the edge, smacks it out of Brady's hands, and the rest is history. We get the ball back. We go 3-0. Jake Elliott, how about the rookie going from kicking 63-yarders to kicking the clutchest ball of his life in those last couple minutes to put us up, and we end up giving it back to Brady. And at that point, I'm on the floor. I'm crying tears. Brady gets one last play. He gets out of the slit of the hands of Fletcher Cox. Brady's rolling to the right, and I see big old busty Gronk running down the field, and I'm getting so scared. At this point, I'm about to have a heart attack. I see the ball. It's in the air forever. And in the end zone, I see all these guys jump. The ball's getting batted up and around, and at that moment, I knew it was now or never, and I see the ball hit the ground. Goes like this. Game over. The Eagles win the 2017 Super Bowl. How long we were starved for that championship, and just the way it happened. From the franchise quarterback, MVP candidate breakout, Carson Wentz going from an MVP season to nothing, having our hopes and dreams stabbed out of us when we knew what kind of team we had. The way all these guys stepped up, the way Nick Foles went from almost retiring to bringing us to the promised land. Let me tell you guys, there has been some great championship runs in history, but I can undoubtedly say that the Philadelphia Eagles had the best run to a championship in all of sports history. And through the whole underdog mentality, the whole vibe of itself, we were able to push through every single time. When we went down, when people turned their eyes off of us, we got better. We united as one. For the way that Nick Foles executed down the stretch, he will forever be remembered as a Philadelphia legend. And it makes it even better that he did it against the stinking Brady, the best of all time, Bill Belichick. And the fact that Brady still did not shake Nick Foles' hands will forever piss me off, but I'm glad that Tom Brady is still thinking of it today and that it will eat away at him forever. Fly, Eagles, fly!